Thank you very much, Sam, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to my session. I'm very glad today to present some of the results, what we are doing in our work. And this is why I put here one level higher, not only sustainability, but I added the regeneration by default as title for my presentation. Here we will go together through the journey, how we go from the agile thinking, digital tools, including AI, to have a new project value and success in this area. We will get through the journey in just in 2 slides. I will have a short survey to ask everyone about what we are doing. But before getting there, just for you, one element about what I will present today. After a short introduction about myself, what I'm doing here and why, we will go to the introduction context. We will have a deep dive, and then we will see a case study from one of our projects in the company I'm working for. And then we will have some key takeaways from this session. And as Sam was mentioning, please feel free to ask any question in any direction, either in the chat or the Q&A session. We will go through this journey together to try to understand how we move together to the next steps. Let me just start with a short introduction about myself. I'm worked last 20 years, a little bit more than 20 years, exactly 24 years, across 3 areas, covering even 3 different regions, from Africa to MENA to Europe. I'm speaking with you now from Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, in East Africa, and used to manage programs, especially focusing on future perspective. I'm at the moment GIZ team leader. GIZ is a German company working in the international development, and is a big company with around 25,000 colleagues worldwide, also based in more than 150 countries. And this is why, for me, it was really important during this session for today to show, okay, it's possible. It's the reality that we are combining at the moment digital tools, agility, and the real examples. During this journey, we will start with some elements, what we call the maturity of the applications, what you have. And this will lead us to the question, before getting in details, with what if we have been measuring success incorrectly? It means most of us, we are basing on the well-known triangle that the success is based project on time and cost, of course, with the minimum quality needed, and that we are on skills. But mostly, especially for the projects I was worked in, it was always in the one or the other area, the feeling that there is something missing. We are sometimes, even our projects, often of impact, of value, of sustainability. Of course, sometimes it's still the question, despite the fact that I know there is a lot of projects having different workshops, different awareness about do no harm approaches, but I see it often. We are still harm communities, in some areas still degrade ecosystems. And of course, if we just consider all these elements, maybe it's important to rethink our success definition. Of course, PMI acknowledge this openly in the value delivery system, what we saw in PMBOK 7, and even more strongly in PMBOK 8, just published 2 weeks ago in Phoenix. And this is reflected in the definition of the success for the project. A project is successfully only when it contributes to intended benefits and long-term value. These are the elements. Let me just repeat this again. On time, on budget is no more enough. Of course, I know some areas still having this as main element, but this is the reality we are now facing. We are seeing a lot of colleagues also in this direction saying this is not more enough. This is why the success, even the project definition in PMBOK 8 changed, and the success is value delivery, outcomes, and impact, all three together. And we hear it, the one of you who attended these sessions just before us, it was mentioned by Joel and Lucilla from PMI and GPM. GPM echoes these thoughts with the P5 standards. We will also dig deeper later on it. It means if we see that the P5 are people, planet, prosperity, products, and process, these 5 interconnected dimensions of value are no more 3, is more than this 3, 1. And this is even in some companies, some applications, in our case in GIZ, we are going one step further. Is the project is only considered effective when we have the social, environmental, and economic impact. And we can measure this compacts. Not only measure this, but also transparently publish these results in the evaluation. And this is, of course, this is a little bit aside where we can see that is uncomfortable sometimes. It's, of course, why uncomfortable. It's push us as project professional to think, rethink what this means, that we are, how we are leading. And of course, in our world, changing world with lot of geopolitical shifts, digital disruptions, and very rapid change and community needs, of course, here we need to rethink how we are doing. The old constraints model is simply cannot just capture all these matters together and all what's happened. And this is why this brings us to the idea of this session. If we continue measuring success with outdated tools, we will continue producing outdated outcomes. And this is why will be also my invitation at the end of the session today is let's just shift perspectives, because the regenerative success demands different lens. And for this, just to see it together, I will invite you to go together to this survey, this Menti survey, and try to see, or at least to measure here the participants' maturity. Where do you have at the moment your sustainability? Where you have the sustainability in your project? Is this in the charter, in the backlog, or it's still as part of the risk register, review retros maybe, or the handover, or just is not yet integrated? Just please either scan this code, or I just put in the chat the link and the code. Please just give me where you are, in which area, in which level of the project sustainability live for you. So I will just give few seconds. I see that some are now having some answers. So we have two answers. Let me also share the answers. We have it here. Also interesting answer results, what we have, even if it's two. So I will just share the screen with the results. So maybe the one or the other is still voting, but this is also interesting results format. Okay, I see that still the two extremes, and the charter is more. Okay, perfect. This also one representative result here. I will just also stay a little bit here to explain what we are seeing, what is behind it, what are the points here. It means we see that three have the sustainability in charter, and this is very good. It means sustainability is recognized very early, but often we need just to discuss if we have the operational part of it, if it is there. And when I'm just getting not yet integrated, of course, this is just a starting point. It's usually when we are speaking about sustainability, like the AI, what we heard today, the different sessions, we have the two extremes. People who already working on it, working with it, people are really not yet integrating this in the projects. And of course, this will give us a little bit of the idea how we are dealing with this and how to move with this. Let me just get back now to the presentation to move forward with our steps, how to be aware about what we are doing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your results. I will share later on also here in this slides, in the chat, the results of the survey. So let's just a little bit now deep dive in this direction. What means the shift for sustainability? What means directly for us as team leaders, as project leaders? And of course, if we are just going here deeper, we will see some elements to move to have this shift as default, not only sustainability, but even regenerative aspect of it. Of course, sustainability means reduce negative impact. We hear these different definitions today. And regenerative means we create the net positive impact, is not only reducing, but we are creating. And of course, this shift means from minimizing the harm to restore the ecosystem and maybe to have it more and more inclusive communities and ecosystem. And of course, when we just see it in our community, in our discussions, this is anchored not only in the PMI value delivery, but also in the GPM P5, especially also when we have in consideration people, planet, and prosperity as very first element from our part. But what this means as example, it means what this means when we are speaking about this point, and of course, we are trying to see the success question. How does this project leave people and planet better than before? What is our impact? Just to give some example of what we know it. Many organizations plant trees as sustainability gesture. A regenerative approach would ask which species restore biodiversity, which strengthens soil health, the first keynote speech from Edo about the gardening metaphor was giving us some example in this direction. But of course, which feed local livelihood and which community main and dependently here. It means is not really the move, the shift what we are doing, not just to try to have regeneration as not idealistic. This will be the strategy. This is the step there. It reduces risks, builds the resilience, strengthens stakeholder trust, and especially in the areas I'm working in, the MENA region, Africa, the trust with the stakeholders is a very important element, is very important step. But even for our organizations, it means this is also our shift to the regeneration by default will give us future-proof organizations in this direction. And let me maybe go one step further and say, okay, before getting to other external dimensions, let us just think about our mindset shift. As leader, we need the so-called multi-layer mindset shift. What means behind it? It means we need really, as we saw it in this maturity survey, the short one, we saw that we have different levels. For us, it means we need to have this mindset shift at the operational level, deliver, and of course, reliability, but also on the strategic level or layer, optimize long-term value, system layer, and then the most important one, the regenerative layer. And if you see it in this way, this classification, I extra selected the operational level or layer as first one. The fact that this is the foundation. To be frank and open, this is the foundation. This is where we are spending the most of our time, our work, our energy is on the operational level. And of course, we are, depending from our functions, from our duty, moving between the other layers there. But of course, here for implement regenerative projects, practice, we need these different layers. We cannot just implement it on the operation layer. We can push to it, but we cannot implement regenerative project practice with purely operational managers mindset. This will be and remain only on the operations. And of course, this is also a part where we need just to think about the steps. It means we are shifting from only project manager to value stewards. And if we are successful in this direction, then we have the ecosystem shaper there. Of course, here you will ask me if there is a lot of shifts there, but this is not really a big shift. We are doing this. We are investing time, things, doing in this direction. Most of the time, our designs, what we try to do, we need just to amplify it, to make it visible. Just again, an example from the company, from GIZ, where I'm working here. For us, is the climate resilience work is based on the 3 pillars. It means it must be a human-centered design. This is what we called our target group most of the time. We need to apply the different digital tools, sometimes even trying some new tools. And to be frank, sometimes we are failing. We see that these new tools are not the best selection for some activities. But of course, the third pillar, what is for us very important is empowering the stakeholders. And this is what leads to system gains, mostly also in a very, very continuous system. And this gives us really the possibility to unify what we are working on and how to deal with it. We will just also see this in the next slide in some examples. It means especially it really doesn't matter how many dashboards or AI models or KPIs we implement. Regeneration is the first way of thinking, and this is, we'll see that we have a lot of elements behind it. Let's just go a little bit deeper and this a little bit agile way of thinking. Lot of managers, lot of program managers, and especially project managers try to introduce agile as a speed machine. Agile is not about speed, and this is something what we are doing, what is going here and here in different discussions. Even I had it this week, a nice discussion with a new team I have here for a new project in the education and technical vocational training. And this was exactly our elements with why we are introducing Agile and why we can use it, especially in some complex contexts. It means regeneration operates in complexity. We need to be clear here that is different layers, different systems. We have the environmental systems, social dynamics, digital ecosystems, and all of them are not linear. This is why they are dynamic, adaptive, unpredictable, and interdependent. And here we have the complexity. And of course, adapting some of the agile elements, for example, the stakeholder co-creation as the highest priority will give us really this very big ownership step. I admit it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, especially to push the stakeholders, especially if you have different stakeholders with different interests, to push them to this mindset of let's do it together, let's design together. Especially in my field of work, I'm working in the international development, and the mindset there is always, okay, Germany, in my case, or the EU, is coming with money, supporting the different communities, and they will come with ready to use solutions. And we started now to have this shift here. And this, as I mentioned, the journey is not so easy, it takes a little bit more time for it, but we see the impacts there. And of course, the iterative value delivery, this is very important, especially we can detect, see, and even correct this sustainability signals from the project, from the implementation. But of course, we have also a space during the agile steps, elements to check these impacts for our impacts. And of course, this is, again, is aligned with what we see in the new PMBOK in this direction. And of course, here we need just to think very simply about it. Agile is not the goal. Regeneration could be, is the goal. Sustainability can be the goal. But of course, Agile is the operating system that makes the whole regeneration operational. And this is one step in the direction to see, okay, what this means. Agile can be one operation system to get there. One additional element what we can add is digital tools. You heard me here and there speaking about the application of digital tools, especially in the field what we are working in. But this is also here a request for us, not only about the tools, but how we are dealing with it. Of course, we know that sustainability in our today's world is a fundamentally a data problem. It means, of course, how we see this. This is one part, but regeneration is more foresight. problem. It means it's more a problem how we are seeing the future about it. It means without data, we are guessing if our direction is in the right direction or not. Without foresight, we are the firefighters. We just react when something there. But with data and with foresight, with both of them, we design impact. And this is what we try to do it. And of course, here we can have the combination to have better decision with our real-time data. Practically, I'll just give you an example. Practically, we introduce in some of our projects the so-called live dashboards. It means for me, as a manager for different projects, I have the possibility to ask my project managers just to have live data in our meetings, to discuss together the impact. But of course, we try to have the so-called predictive analytic behind it. We cannot be 100% sure. We have our whole risk management steps there. But of course, we try to be more and more future-aware planning in our work. Another example, we will see it just in a few slides as a case study, is the Internet of Things and the sensoric. This, of course, possibility to have more data, to have more environmental and social elementary data. And of course, here is important, just if we have patterns in our work, most of the time we have different projects, sometimes repetitive projects, but we know that each project is unique, but we can see pattern, we can see signals. And of course, for us, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, the dashboards are very important, and the main role what we have here is really for transparency, first of all, traceability, but also trust. It means it was not so easy to convince our partners, our stakeholders, that we are operating with public accessible dashboards, especially for the results. The fact was always this trust and this traceability fear. As I mentioned, especially in the environments I'm working in, trust is a very, very expensive element. And this is why for us it's really important to build this trust. And as I mentioned, it takes time. It takes time really to create this trust. And of course, when we are speaking about digital, it is no more really integrated as a layer, as technology layer. We do it. When we do right, digital tools don't replace human intelligence. Just they expand what we are thinking on, and they accelerate this. Of course, this is also one sentence what a lot of my colleagues don't really accept it so easy, that the real barrier isn't technology. For the sustainability part and the regeneration is more people power and ethics. If we don't have really these 6 elements there, this will be not so easy to have a clear sustainability in this direction. Just to give some examples in this directions, it means data access is not the same as data legitimacy. This is a little bit not because you have data that means you should use it or you can use it. Of course, this is communities often don't really trust external actors. There is a big distrust there. Of course, sometimes with good reasons behind it, but we need also to go in this direction. One other very interesting element is about what we hear these days about AI. AI without inclusion will just amplify inequality. I was working the last few months on the so-called EU AI Act, and this is will be now applied step by step, and you will see why it was difficult to introduce this EU AI Act, especially in this element. It means the inclusive part of it. But of course, another part, what we try to go with it, is the whole digital literacy. It means we are working, it's still a big gap. We hear it today in different areas that there is a big gap on this direction. Of course, then local knowledge is no more really an option. Local knowledge is a must. We need to have the knowledge locally, the localization. And of course, we have another element is the ethical data is not a nice to have, is the fundamental part of the introduction of this AI. It means, of course, the digital tools do not make our projects or our activities, our initiatives regenerative, but our digital behavior does. This is also a very central point about it, how to deal with it. And maybe that's just to show this a little bit more practically with the standards, what we know. Just here, we have PMI. Most of us have the PM book or the one or the other guides. And we have from the other side, the GPM. We hear this morning, as I mentioned, a lot about it. And here is the central element, the central message of this is value delivery meets regenerative impact. Both of them are together, working together, just putting these elements together. As I mentioned at the beginning, the core strategy inside is that regeneration is not a new framework, is what we are doing, what we are applying. And of course, if we just have a look deeper in this direction, Joel, 2 hours ago, was speaking about the P5 lens, making regeneration measurable. This is a very important element, how we can measure this. This is, of course, a part where we can get to the 5 Ps, the new compass. We still have the sustainability, performance, time, scope, cost. This is what we are used to it, but we have also risk, benefits, and value, and this covering 5 Ps, not only the people as a central part, our planet, the prosperity of the people, but also the products and even the process itself. All of this are elements what can be reflecting the steps, the practical tools, how you can apply it to your own setting. So, and this gives us to the next step. What we are doing here, it means just an example, and all these elements and details are also public. I put some links here. Also at the end of the presentation, I will put it in the chat. It means we are living this. Some companies, like as I mentioned, GIZ have it in practical. And then for us, we have the envelope here where we have economic dimension, social dimension, and environmental dimension. All of them with the different steps have this so-called sustainable development. This is what we are doing. This is what defined in the different layers and the maturity, what we saw together. I will also give one short example to it and just few tools or steps how to deal with it. We have one project in the very north part of Indonesia with local coastal community. And then we work together with fishers, digital digital experts and climate experts here in this area in the north of Indonesia. And the idea was starting really how to start one of these projects is just with very simple listening. The communities describe their problem with unpredictable ocean safety, changing fish migration patterns, and climate-driven livelihood risk. And of course, this established very clear needs through ownership and the contentional setting awareness. And from there, we have the team together, started together, co-created, and then have applied just the next steps, what you will see in the next 2 slides. And then you have the possibility to see how the products are coming. I know I will still have 1 minute to go before the 5 minutes. Sam, I see you. And I have only two slides. I put just also here in the presentation 2 toolkits, very simple one, from adding the P5 section in the charters until really thinking about the life cycle value. And of course, you integrated the regeneration even in the different elements. It is how you can deliver in 5 steps the so-called regeneration elements. And this will be leaving me with a conclusion, with some takeaways for you, especially here. It's just about the very nice element, embrace innovation, thinking, but of course, collective wisdom, we need to have it. And of course, we will go together to a lasting progress for sustainability. And thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Hagai, and thank you, everyone. So please feel free, to share your question in the Q&A tab. So maybe I can share one proactive question, to be the first one. So Hagai, one quick question. Okay, I share in the screen now. Why do managers hesitate to apply an agile mindset to sustainability?
Yes, especially we know that sometimes in some activities or some projects, the agile mindset is not easy to apply, especially if you have a mixed team, hybrid team or mixed team with people who are understanding this and others who still see sustainability as a constraint, either cost or time, cost for the project and time. And of course, we see it that there is a big change at the moment. There is a big change, and the generations change about how we deal with it and how it's going in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from anyone? Maybe I have one more question to ask and pose here as well. Yeah. Okay. So what? Sorry, I posted this one. What is the simplest MVP dashboard for a non-technical team?
Yes, this is also what we had in this example in Indonesia. It means our fishers, they were for them. They don't know about the systems and the technique there. For them was very easy. They said to us, look, our minimal viable product is to know if our fish are going in another direction, to have a signal. And this is a little bit very simple one. The dashboard was just composed from 3 parameters: fish direction, wind direction, and of course the ocean change of pattern. These were the very simple minimal viable product. Of course, later on they saw a lot of other functions for the product, but for them it was this what really have there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So there's another question, by Alexia.
Yeah.
What would you suggest as lever to convince client to embed sustainability within a project as a business driver, especially for IT project?
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. And this is also this element, this dilemma with the IT or ICT projects in general. the ICT projects are seeing themselves that they are the one who don't contribute or contribute nicely to the sustainability part. And here, for you, Alicia, really the recommendation to see the best practice, to collect this, to connect to the people. I had the experience with one of my colleagues in my team having a new platform. He took just the example from a new platform in another country and then get to the stakeholders here in Ethiopia and show this so-called best practice solution, and they opened the door. Really, what you need is just to open the door slightly, and if you open it, the wind is coming, and then the wind of change is coming there.
Okay, cool. Thank you. There's one more question typing in the chat. Let me show here as well. Okay, so it's from Vanita. Could you share some examples of how you apply the P5 session in the project charter? Step 2, 3 to 5 sustainability KPIs?
Yes, exactly. And this is a little bit related with the type of project you have. It means for the project charter, you will see that the new templates, or at least the new resources we have, they offer the possibility to add this so-called sustainability task. Most of the time, you will see it in your projects, in your discussion, especially about the charter, you will speak about sustainability, but not write it down or operation it. And this is why my recommendation in the discussions with the design of the project and the charter to just listen very, very carefully about the elements of the sustainability and put them in writing there. And this is exactly the same also for the KPIs. They can only be generated from the owner, from the ownership part.
Okay, yeah, cool. Thank you very much. And also thanks today for your presentation. And also thanks everyone for your attending the session. Before you join other session, you can take part in our survey and also get the PDU. The survey result we will also study and to continue improve our future events as well. Yeah. Okay. So at the same time, please feel free to join our further session. We will have the panel session in the 4:10. Yeah, today. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.